Welcome back to my channel if you're new here. My name is Mary, and today's video is going to be my Sorry Picks My TBR for the month of July. So I did go ahead and play Sorry for this month. I am also participating in a readathon all month, and for that readathon, I'm going to be pulling cards as I go. It's the tarot readathon. I will link to some of the creators. I know Broomies Digest are some of the hosts, and then Noelle 7 Pages is like the host, so she's not actually like on a team. She's just like running the readathon, so I will link their pages down below, and they have more information about the readathon. But I did just want to go ahead and pick a base TBR. That way, if I'm running out of ideas or want to take a pause on the readathon for whatever reason, I can read these books. This does mean, though, that I might not actually get to these books if I can't find a way to fit them in, and I'm having a really good time with the readathon. So I just wanted to let you know that. But I am planning on doing weekly vlogs for the tarot readathon where I pull cards as I go, pick a book, read the book, and then tell you about the book. I did this for Spookopolython last year and had a really great time and ended up reading a lot of things. So I'm hopeful that it will go well for me in July. Without further ado, let's see what the first prompt that I land on in this game of Sorry is. Okay, so we are starting over here on Mat Pick, where we landed last time. Move forward 3. And that is literary fiction. So the first prompt that I landed on was to read a literary fiction book. And for this, I've actually picked The Unit by Nini Holmqvist. I don't know exactly how that's pronounced. She's a Swedish author, and this is translated from Swedish. It's literary fiction and dystopian, which I'm very excited about. I do love a dystopian. It says, one day in early spring, Dorrit Vager is checked into the Second Reserve Bank unit for a biological material. She's promised a nicely furnished apartment inside the unit where she will make new friends, enjoy the state-of-the-art recreation facilities, and live the few remaining days of her life in comfort with people who are just like her. Here, women over the age of 50 and men over 60, single, childless, and without jobs in progressive industries are sequestered for their final few years. They are considered outsiders. In the unit, they are expected to contribute themselves for drug and psychological testing and ultimately donate their organs, little by little, until the final donation. Despite the ruthless nature of this practice, the ethos of this near-future society in the unit is to take care of others, and Dorrit finds herself living under very pleasant conditions, well-housed, well-fed, and well-attended. She is resigned to her fate and discovers her days there to be rather consoling and peaceful. But when she meets a man inside the unit and falls in love, the extraordinary becomes a reality and life suddenly turns unbearable. Dorrit is faced with compliance or escape, and well, then what? So I am excited to read this book. This is another one that's been on my TBR forever. It came out in 2006. I don't know when it was translated to English, but I'm really excited. It's only about 270 pages, so it should be relatively quick to get through. I'm saying that because I have a really hard time sticking to my TBRs these days, and I'm just finding myself not enjoying a lot of things I'm picking up, but then spending a lot of time reading them and then falling behind on my reading project. So hopefully that doesn't happen with this book, but again, I am excited to be reading a translated work, and I'm excited to be reading a book that is this short and sounds this interesting to me. Move forward 1. Short stories. The next prompt that I landed on was to read a collection of short stories, which again is great for me because they are usually easy to dip in and out of if I'm reading other things. So even if I don't pick this for a readathon, I'm able to like read some of the short stories as I go. And my library does have an audiobook copy of this, which, as we all know, is my preferred way of reading because it helps me get through things quicker. And because I don't always have time to sit down and read for 2 hours, but I almost always have time to read a book while I go for a walk, do some dishes, laundry. I don't do laundry. I don't know why I said that. My husband does our laundry, but cook dinner, stuff like that. I am really excited for this prompt. I don't think I've told you what I'm reading yet. I'm gonna be reading Shit Cassandra Saw by Gwen E. Kirby, which is a like feminist, humorist short story collection. It says Margaret Atwood meets Buffy in these funny, warm, and furious stories of women at their breaking points from Hellenic times to today. So I'm not gonna read that much more about it. I don't know how many short stories are in this collection, but I am excited to read it. And I hope that it is funny and like entertaining to read as well. Move forward 11. Romance. Third prompt that I landed on was to read a romance book, and for this I am going to be reading the 4th book in the Court of Thorns and Roses series, A Court of Silver Flames, which is the one that I don't own, and it is about Nesta, who I believe is a sister of Feyre. So this is set in like a fair fantasy world where in the first book, Feyre is this human girl living with her sisters in the woods. Their mother has died. Their dad is like, maybe their dad has died and their mom is sick. One of the two. But basically their parents are worthless, and Feyre's the one who's in charge of taking care of all of them, even though she's the youngest daughter. And she's two sisters, Nesta, and I can't remember the other one's name, Elaine. Is that right? Maybe. But Feyre ends up killing this wolf to like feed for her family or whatever, to protect them. And turns out he was actually a Fey guy. And so she has to go live in the castle with Tamlin. It's like a Beauty and the Beast retelling. And then the story goes on from there. I don't want to spoil it for you, even though like I'm sure most people have read it or know what it's about. Not that most people have read it, but like I feel like it's one of the popular books that everyone has sort of heard of. And I don't love any of the original books in the series, I won't lie. My favorite is A Court of Thorns and Roses, which is a very unpopular opinion. Most people really like the second book, I think, the best. Akamath, if I'm not mistaken. I don't even remember what happens in Akawar. It's a lot of battles and that's not really my thing. But I am interested in following a different perspective from this story. So I'm interested in getting Nesta's point of view. And I believe she has a romance with a character named Cassian. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. But I'm excited to read this one. Nesta's pretty insufferable, so we'll see how I do with that. Sometimes I really like an insufferable female main character. Like sometimes I can really get behind that. Other times it bothers me. So I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this one, but I am planning on reading it. If I don't love it, I probably won't pick up the rest of the books in the series. I don't know when any of them are supposed to come out. But this, as far as I'm aware, is still the most recent book in the series. And then I'll feel good having completed it. It's been on my TBR a long time. I read the original books in the series when I still lived in Arkansas, so it's been a long time. And I'm excited to continue in the series and either put it to bed finally or actually enjoy myself for the first time in a while. And potentially the last pick, move forward 12. A debut. The next prompt that I landed on was to read a debut novel, and for this I'm going to be reading Daughters of the New Year by E.M. Tran. This is supposed to be a captivating debut novel that moves backwards in time to trace 5 generations of Vietnamese mothers and daughters, drawing on Vietnamese zodiac astrology to chart the fateful events of their lives. And if you've been on this channel for a while, then you know that 2 of my favorite things are sister relationships in books. I love sibling relationships, specifically sisters, and I love reading about multi-generational family stories. So this doesn't say sister relationship, it says mother-daughter relationships, but I'm still hoping to enjoy it the same way. I did read Holding Pattern by Jenny Shih. Is that who wrote that book? Earlier this year? I could be wrong about the author of that. But I read that back in February, I think, for the X's and O's readathon, and I did enjoy my time reading that. And the mother-daughter relationship explored in that book was my favorite part of it. There were other things that I didn't totally love about it, but that was my favorite bit. I'm excited because I also read Homegoing by Yajasi a few years ago, and that is another one that is a multi-generational family story that transpires. This is 5 generations. I don't know how many generations that was, but it was like pre-slave times in Ghana through to modern day in the US and in Ghana, and I just love that book. It was so well done, and I'm really like excited for the potential of another book to do the same thing. I am nervous that this is a debut. I don't usually get that nervous, but it sounds like a very ambitious novel, and I know that she has not released anything since this, which could be a good thing. Could mean, oh, it also only came out in 2022. Excited about this, and I'm also excited by the prospect that it moves backwards through time instead of forwards through time, because nonlinear storytelling is another thing that I can really enjoy. I don't always love it. Obviously, it has to be well done, but I'm excited for this one. I hope it is as good as it seems to me. Quick point before I close out this video, short and sweet this time. I did want to mention that I am still participating in BUZZWORDATHON every month, and my word, or the word for July, is measurement words. And so you have a unit of measurement. So I'm using The Unit by Nini Holmqvist. I don't know how her name is pronounced. I'm really sorry. That first book that I talked about, the dystopian one, I'm using that for my buzzword pick. And then for the tarot readathon, I already mentioned this, but I am planning on pulling cards and picking books as I go. But I thought that I would show you my cards here to get you excited maybe. And then I will do my first pull right now and look at the prompts and pick a book based on those, just live while you're sitting here with me. So these are the cards that I have. It is this deck. Where is the front? It is the Ethereal Visions Illuminated Tarot deck by Matt Hughes. So that's what, I think that's the High Priestess card. And these are some of the designs. But I'm just gonna shuffle quickly and pull. I also should mention, I think I picked Team Wands. Can neither confirm nor deny. I did pick a team, and it was either Wands or Swords, and I wanna say I went with Wands because it's the Rumi Digests team, and they're like the hosts that I know. I don't know them personally, but like the ones that I follow, I guess, most closely. So that's why I picked that team. And also I just sort of did. And I know that that means that if I want to, I can replace any of the prompts here with a romance prompt instead. And you can use that unlimited times. Again, all of this information will be in the original announcement videos in the Google Docs, which I will share with you down below so that you can like look at stuff, because I don't really know that much about it, but I just thought I'd let you know. So I did shuffle a little bit, and I'm gonna pull my first card and show you what it is. So this is, Justice. I don't want it to like reflect too much, but you see that? So the prompt for Justice is to read a book that addresses a social issue. So let me think on that, and I will be right back with a pick. I've actually taken a quick look at some books, and I think I'm just gonna use The Unit by Nini Holmqvist to fit this prompt as well, because it is about like, it's a dystopian book. I already talked about what it's about, but where you get to a certain age and you're no longer considered like a contributing member of society. So they harvest you for your internal organs and your material, like biological materials, it sounds like. And it says that the ethos of the near future society is to take care of others. And so I'm gonna sort of pin that as my social justice issue. I don't know how well that's actually gonna fit now that I'm talking about it out loud, but it kind of fits in my head. So that's what I'm gonna go with. This is the book that I'm going to start my reading with this month, and we will just see where things go. Again, I am planning on doing weekly vlogs so that you can catch up and sort of see what I'm reading every week. And if you are participating in this readathon, please let me know in the comments down below if you've already picked your whole TBR for it or how you're planning on doing that. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see my progress in the tarot readathon this month. I'm very, very excited to do it. I did it a couple years ago and had a really good time. And like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more from me, and I will see you in my next video very soon. Bye!